Top of the morning to you. Welcome to the program this morning on ITV. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens, and I have my colleague joining on this table, Harry Agboje. Good morning, Harry.
Good morning, Anu. Good to see you.
How are you? Good to see you too. And also joining this morning in our Lagos studio, I have Patricia Gabriels. Good morning, Patricia. How are you? And how is Lagos today?
Good morning, Anu. Lagos is good and I'm fine. Thank you so much. And how's Benin?
Benin is great and amazing, and of course the weather is doing its thing at this point. Well, hopefully we have our Abuja studio join us on the show this morning. A lot of things to talk about, but let's quickly rub minds as regards to the economy, as we get to see in the news that the Central Bank of Nigeria has retained the benchmark interest rate at 26.5%, maintaining a cautious stance amidst inflationary pressures right here in Nigeria. Now, the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso disclosed this committee's decision at the conclusion of the bank's 2 days 306th Monetary Policy Committee meeting held this month from July 20th to July 21st. 2026 right there in Abuja. So the decision marks the second consecutive retention of the MPR at 26.5% following a 50 basis point reduction in February from 27%. So speaking after the meeting, the CBN governor stated that the committee's decision was based on a thorough assessment of the economy. Harry, what do you really make out of this, especially in the country where we're still grappling with high inflationary measures, and it seems to a lot of Nigerians that what is going on as regards all of the, the laid down conversation, the policies, the implementation is really not trickling down to the common man on the street, the SMEs, the businessman who gets to complain of high diesel, high fuel, and all of that. How do we marry everything?
Well, every time there is a decision of this nature, it is the common man that is worse off for it, because we complain every day that life is not easy for the average Nigerian, and every time a policy is implemented, it seems like it's even making things worse for the average Nigerian. Now, he said that they came up with this decision after a thorough assessment of the economy. Right. So I believe he did that, or they did that from an expert perspective. But the question is, how does this affect the common man? Now, a lot of Nigerians are struggling to survive. Businesses are, barely surviving, okay? Getting a loan nowadays is not a joke. And of course, what this means is that it's going to be even harder to get a loan because of the interest rate and all of that. So one would have expected that, okay, in making this decision, they would put the masses into consideration. But it seems like, as always, it's about them, and it's about what they think is in the best interest of the country. Now, although he found a way to blame this on the current crisis in the Middle East, he said the inflation level balanced at some point, I think sometime in February, but it went up again as a result of the escalation of the crisis. Well, what can we say? We can only hope that the crisis, subsides, so that we can get back to, we can get our lives back, because apparently the crisis is affecting everything. Let's not forget how the crisis also affected fuel hike quite recently.
Right. So
the crisis, tends to be affecting everything. In fact, everything that concerns us. So I guess at this point, Nigerians need to start praying that the crisis will end.
Well, when you say hope, it just makes me remember that we're currently in the renewed hope administration of the president, and that's what the president came on board to offer to Nigerians. But concerning this MPR retaining the 27%, remember that he did actually say, the CBN governor, Olayemi Cardoso, did say that the Naira currently doesn't need protection. What the Naira needs is competition, right? Now, moving over to you, Patricia, a lot of the times we get to see inflation in the country being influenced by insecurity and a whole lot right here in Nigeria. Now, the question is, the retainment of the MPR, do you think it's going to enhance price stability across major sectors in the economy here in Nigeria?
Well, Anu, thank you so much. Just like Harry said, policies are made not looking at the common man in the country. Policies are taken when they look at how it will affect them, if it's going to affect them positively. That's my opinion. So I don't think that will help in the price in Nigeria right now. Instead, it's going to cause more inflation, because the common man on the street is complaining. Just like Harry said, with the crisis in the Middle East, we know how the fuel hike just went up last week or some days ago. And then we that are close to the common men on the streets, we discuss with them and we ask questions. Everybody is complaining bitterly, and trust me, I don't think this policy is going to help in the prices.
Right. Well, away from that, let's look at another major trending conversation currently emanating from the educational sector here in Nigeria. As yesterday, we did see that the federal government approves downward review of textbook assessment and ranking fees. Now, the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council has reduced the cost of textbook assessment and ranking, and also directed that publishers who paid the previous higher assessment fees be refunded. So in a move actually aimed at easing the financial burden on stakeholders ahead of the implementation of the federal government's national textbook ranking system, the decision was announced in a statement personally signed by the executive secretary of the council, Professor Saliu Shehu, and released yesterday in Abuja. So basically, according to the statement release, the assessment fee has been reduced from 2,000 naira to 1,500 naira per page, while the ranking fee has been reviewed downward from 1 million naira to 750 naira per textbook title. So the federal government has actually done this, and it's a good law of Nigerians to open, especially authors in Nigeria. Now, Harry, I'd love to ask you this question. So with this reduction in the assessment fee, do you think we're still going to, have any other barriers currently facing the authorization of books? And do you think it's also going to enable authors, give us quality for our monies?
I think this should be cheering news for authors,
right,
authors and publishers, because if I was an author, I probably would be, popping champagne right now, because it means that I don't have to pay as much as I used to, to get my work reviewed and, of course, ranked. I think it's a welcome development, it's a step in the right direction, because one of the things I believe has waned over time is the reading culture.
Right.
And this will also impact positively on the reading culture, because though it seems like books are now more in e-format than in hard copy, okay? But I believe with this particular one, attention will be shifted back to hard copy books. And of course, publishers and authors will have a sigh of relief, okay? And they will be, better off for it. This will help them, it will encourage them to produce more, to write more, and of course, give them a lease of life.
Absolutely. Well, back to you, Patricia. Now, there's this popular saying that says, if you want to hide something from an African man, or should I say Nigerian at this point, just put it in a book. I don't know how true that is. But then again, back to this policy, how is it going to impact schools, students, and, the educational system right here in Nigeria? What's your take?
Okay, like Harry said, it's a good way to go, reducing the price costs for production of textbooks is actually a good way to go. Truly, our libraries are almost all empty these days when you go to the library. I remember when I was in school, we used to go to the library a lot to, get textbooks that will assist us in our courses. But right now, libraries are almost all empty. Like Harry said, we're all having soft copy now, e-books are everywhere. But with this, I think that production of books will become more massive, and then we'll have more books in circulation for us to read. And I hope Nigerians would also see the opportunity to pick up books and read. It's very important when we read, and it makes us to understand what is going on and how to help us to improve in our courses, especially as students.
Okay. And also, there's another saying that says, readers are leaders. Harry, you did make mention of why did you chuckle when I said that, right? You did make mention of the fact that a lot of persons, especially the young folks, barely read these days. Yeah. Now, the question is why, and how can we build the reading culture back here in Nigeria?
Okay, I think it's a case of misplaced priority. a whole lot of things have distracted the young people of this generation.
When you say a lot of
era.
things, what are those things? Social
Well,
media?
Social media mainly.
Content
and of course,
creation?
yes, content creation. In fact, the average young person is a content creator nowadays, which is not a bad thing.
Everybody basically is
Do you
doing
understand?
content,
But
right?
which is not a bad thing in itself. But I think there is a shift from the focus on creativity to, the need to make money at all costs. So everybody wants to become a millionaire at the youngest age possible, which is not also bad, but the way you go about it is what matters. And just like you rightly said, readers are leaders. But again, most of our leaders today, are they readers or were they readers? Do they even act like leaders? With all due respect, but it is what it is, okay? But the reality is that we really need to bring back the reading culture. I am a product of the reading culture. I remember how passionate I was about reading when I was in my junior secondary school, even in my primary school. I read quite a lot of books from An African Night Entertainment, Cheer Brother, and Things Fall Apart, No Longer at Ease, and the rest of them. So these things formed. And apart from just the fact that it helped us academically, it also helped shape our values. The value system that Africans are known for are actually gotten from most of the books that we read. For instance, if you read a book like Without a Silver Spoon, you'll see that there are lots of moral values in there that can influence the young person positively. But nowadays, how many of such materials are still out there, to influence people positively?
Well, good question there. And I'd love to throw that question right now to Patricia. How did we get here with the reading culture in the country, and how can we make it better? What's the role of the school, the parents? Of course, we're aware that the family is the first institution when it comes to the social network in the nation, right? Patricia.
Okay, let me start by telling you a story of a young lady I came across yesterday. Okay, she's pregnant for her first child, and she's in her 20s. I think she's a doctor. She's 27 and thereabouts. So we were talking, and I was like, "Oh, your child is going to be watching a whole lot of cartoons and all that." And she said to me, "No, I won't allow my child to do that. I will imbibe the habit of reading once he or she is 1 year." So, it caught my attention because these days, parents don't care. They just want something that will keep that child somewhere so they can go out to work or go out for businesses just to make money. Everybody's focused on making money. So you see them throw cartoons at them, and then these children just sit down in one place and watch cartoon. Even the schools are not left out. If you go to the schools these days, that habit of, taking a storybook, let's read together in the class, they're not there anymore. Everybody is in a hurry to make money. Everybody is in a hurry to go do other things. Nobody is focused in educating the children to study. So it will start from the parents. If you could, at least twice in a week, take your time out to read with your children. And also the school, make it a habit. Maybe once in a week, everybody goes to the library to read. Pick up a storybook or a book you find interest from the library to read. I think that will help.
Absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to the impact of this new policy and other policies that would shape the educational terrain right here in the country. Now, back to you, Patricia. What are we getting from Lagos this morning on the table?
Okay, this morning we're going to be looking at the preparedness of INEC. Is INEC actually prepared for the 2027 elections? We all know that there's been a lot of attack on the INEC. I think Nigerians have lost some kind of trust on INEC. So we're going to be looking at how prepared INEC is. Are they really prepared for the 2027 elections?
Right, well, that's a big question that only the electoral umpire can respond to at this point. Let's not forget that we have the Osun governorship election coming up pretty fast. It's just next month, August 15th, and a lot of Nigerians are looking forward to the outcome of that election. Well, back here in Edo State, Nigeria, we turn our attention back to what went down over the weekend with the NBA election. There's been a lot of controversies surrounding that particular election, and we'll do justice to the conversation and talk about the aftermath of the NBA 2026 election right here in Nigeria. And if time will permit, we'll also look at the 2027 election. Has governance taken the back burner, and a lot of other interesting questions that should be asked right here on the show. We'll do justice to that. And interestingly, we'll be having our guest join in virtually, Barrister Benjamin Benyam, the immediate past chairman, NBA Boko Benue State, who will be joining virtually this morning from Benue State, Nigeria. And also live here in Edo State, we'll have Barrister Chris Otasoe, Secretary, Nigeria Bar Association, Edo State, joins in the studio this morning. Well, all of this and more today on the show. As we take a short break, when we return, we'll look at the front pages of the newspaper. Please stay. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying. If you're just on, you're on to This Morning on ITV. Now, we'll quickly take a look at the front pages of the newspaper this morning. We have the Punch newspaper, the Guardian newspaper, and the like. So let's start off with the Guardian newspaper this morning. And the major headline, interestingly, is about politics. The 2027 presidential election, that's what it's saying. INEC helpless as early campaigns flout Electoral Act fairness rules. Now, the question is why? On page 6, you find out more on that story. Court finds poverty keeping Nigerian prisons congested, says NHRC on page 3. Presidency pegs yearly power investment deficits at $11 billion. That's in Business News. Controversy trails 2026 budget amid palace church allocations delays. On page 6, away from that, payroll fraud, police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 fake workers. Police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 fake workers on page 5. Harry, this story is interestingly, it's funny, but it's not funny. And it seems that what we get to see every single time in federal parastatals right here in Nigeria. The question is why. There was a trending video of a particular governor, I'm trying to remember which state now, where he interestingly went to the studio, I said studio, he went to the office, right, in the morning, only for him not to meet anybody there. And he just went around. You know that's unplanned visit you get to make impromptu just to see how things are going on in your company. Now he did that, and to his greatest surprise, there was nobody there. And now we're having a report of persons, not even, you know, fake workers, ghost workers as the case may be. Now this is the same country where we've talked about fake agency that we're still grappling with in Nigeria. And shocking to see how the police is topping the charts.
Well, it still trickles down to the corruption conversation. And, you know, I've often said on this platform that corruption has eaten so deep into our very fabrics as a people that I think it has been institutionalized, where people don't see corruption as corruption until they become victims of corruption. Okay, to the average person, corruption is connection when it favors them. Okay, and let's not forget the fact that the eye service culture is a thing in Nigeria, where we only work when we know that we're being watched. Okay, we only do the needful. We only perform our duties when we know that we are being monitored. But the moment the eyes of the powers that be are no longer there. We just go about doing what we like. And this is actually a good thing. This is not the first time we're seeing something of this nature. I remember a story of a particular military administrator in Edo State. I think it was Anthony Onyerebulem of blessed memory, how he disguised as a common man to, visit a filling station.
Right.
He got there, and of course, the person working there, the fuel attendants, disrespected him like the common man. And he just kept tagging along until he had had enough, and he got what he wanted, and decided to teach them a lesson. So it has always been like this. A lot of us only work when we know we are being watched, and it actually says a lot about our attitude to work, our attitude to duty, our attitude to responsibility. We do not think we don't do things because it is right. We do things because we want to impress. And that in itself is a problem. Right,
908 fake workers, that number is really a lot. It's not 50, it's not 30 or 100.
It's crazy.
908 fake workers, it's a lot. It says a lot about the systematic failure we're currently experiencing in the country, and a lot of persons should be held accountable, and those guys should be flushed out as soon as possible.
In a country where a lot of people are looking for jobs, and then you have people who are privileged to have jobs, but they are not doing what they're paid to do.
And it's really quite shocking that the personnel who should even be enforcing the law are also the ones, culprit to all of these things. It's really sad. But anyway, we fall back to the Guardian newspaper and look at other major headlines this morning. It says Nigeria's solar market hit $2.4 billion as Africa attracts $13.5 billion renewable energy investment on page 3. Dangote returns to Naira sales, raises ex-depot price to 1,215 Naira per litre on page 2. For a lot of Nigerians, when would this tussle end with the amount we tend to buy and purchase fuel in the country? Osho Guba polls, parties cite fresh concerns over electoral integrity, violence on page 7 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. World Day Against Trafficking, NAPTIP says 3,000 trafficked in $64 billion scam on page 5. And finally, Zenith wins Africa's Best Bank, retains industry award. Well, congratulations to them. Well, that's all the Guardian will permit us this morning.
All right, our focus now shifts to the Punch newspaper, and the Punch is leading with the headline that says ICPC team grills and battles DG inside police detention. ICPC team grills and battle DJ inside police detention, and that's on fake agency probe. Now that can be found on page 2 of the Punch newspaper. The writer there says Adeyemi quizzed for hours. Interrogation continues today. Reps to question Akume, Ribadu Fagbemi Disu, Accountant General today. Now it seems like a whole lot is happening today.
Right.
And another writer that says controversial DG gets new lawyer. Atiku tackles Tinubu over phantom agency controversy. Okay, let's take a look at the top of the page. And first here says Trump hails Tinubu over anti-terror war. And that's on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And next to that, police top list as ICPC uncovers 908 ghost workers, just like you were saying, Anu.
Right.
Page 27 of the Punch newspaper. And Zenith Bank named Africa's Best Bank and Nigeria's Best Bank at the 2026 Euro Money Awards for Excellence. Congratulations to Zenith Bank on that one. Page 15 is where you'll find that. And still on the Punch newspaper this morning, Dangote resumes Naira petrol sales, hikes price by 140 Naira. You can find that on page 21 of the Punch newspaper. Crackdown on cultists. Police arrest 3, seize firearms in Lagos. Now it seems like there is a raging war against cultists and cultism in Nigeria. I mean, kudos to the Edo State governor.
For topping the chart and taking the lead.
Absolutely.
Right.
And then you can find that on pages 4 and 5. And finally on the Punch newspaper this morning, Ondo Speaker gets Sunday deadline to resign or face impeachment. And that's it seems like there's fire on the mountain for Ondo Speaker right there. And that's on page 14 of the Punch newspaper. That's it on the Punch newspaper.
Away from that, the Nigerian Tribune is up next, and the big, major, bold headline says APC, Atiku, trade words over 12.8 trillion naira service-wide vote. Subwriter says ADC presidential candidate lacks basic understanding of public finance. Who was speaking? APC. You failed to address central issues on how SWV ballooned by over 1,918% in 2 years. Atiku responding, more or less like a tug of war, a tug of words between Atiku and the presidency at this point. On page 3, details of that story. Illegal mining, Senate proposes bill on tighter regulation penalties on page 4. Oil government, EFCC, battle in court over state finances on page 3. Fubara declares support for Rivers Rainbow Coalition, backs Tinubu Chinda on page 25. Now, Harry, I feel we need to just talk about this a little bit. Now, for all Nigerians, the question has been, where has he been? Fubara, of course, for quite a while he hasn't been trending, he hasn't been saying anything. It seems the whole controversy and tug of war between him and his principal, or former principal, if I should say, really had a strong hold on him. And just yesterday we saw the video, hopefully we'll have it on TMI Socials, where he was saying what beautiful things about Wike, and he also did say, you know what, I'm supporting whoever Wike is supporting and the president is supporting for the next governor of Rivers State. What do you think played out, especially with the whole drama and shenanigans we've been seeing over time coming out from Rivers State?
Now, that sounds to me like a rhetorical question, because we already know what played out. You know, power play, power tussle. If you can't beat them, you know you have to join them. So
really?
That's what I think is playing out here. I mean, it's pretty obvious. It's a case of a child, I mean, an owl crying in the middle of the child morning. Becoming best of friends. Now, it actually goes to prove, to tell you that behind the scene, there's a lot of politicking, there's a lot of power play that happens, even beyond what we see on the surface. So I feel like Wike, everybody knows how ruthless Wike can be when it comes to politicking and when it comes to, you know, power play. So I wouldn't be surprised if some sort of, should I call it intimidation or bullying has, you know, played out behind the scene. But the more you look, the less you see in Nigeria.
Well, as we would say, allegedly, because we really can, you know, put words to this.
Absolutely.
Well, still in the same country where they say in politics you have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. So at the end of the day, it is what it is. Away from that, turn our attention over to another major headline. It says, on the foreign scene, President Trump lauded Tinubu over fight against terror, protection of Christians. We saw the State House of, Abuja right there post an interesting message from President Donald Trump on his X account yesterday. Away from that, okay, we've talked about the Dangote refinery hiking petrol price. I think that's all Nigerian Tribune has for us this morning, Harry. Okay,
let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. And the Nation is leading with this screamer that says, Tinubu's decisive blows on terrorists excite Trump. Tinubu's decisive blows on terrorists excite Trump. And the writer says, U.S. President pledges more support in letter to Nigerian leader. Okay, now let's take a look at head. CBN, banks must now support productive. Okay, and Osun 2026, Oyebamiji to voters, don't be deterred by violence rumors. Well, that's really hard to do, given the antecedents of elections that we've seen in recent time. Give APC candidate a chance because of his politics. I think that's that's on page 6 of the Nation newspaper. Accord stakeholders threaten withdrawal of support for Adeleke. You want to know more about that? Pick up a copy of the Nation newspaper. And still on the Nation newspaper this morning, 2 million naira loan offers opens for young entrepreneurs. That can be found on page 25 of the Nation newspaper. Otedola tightens hold on first holdco with 7,759 billion naira shares acquisition. And that's on page 7 of the Nation newspaper. And finally on the Nation newspaper this morning, 5 Southeast governors back Tinubu's re-election. And that's on page 30 of the Nation newspaper.
Right, well, we wrap up with the New Telegraph newspaper this morning, and it's leading with an interesting headline that says 2026 budget, federal government allocates 22.15 billion naira for traditional rulers' palaces renovations, furnishings. Now, subwriter says 11 palace projects valued at 5.85 billion naira have no identifiable locations. Who was speaking? 46 MDAs without statutory mandate to build or renovate places to execute projects. ICPC uncovers over 908 ghost workers on federal government payroll. We've talked about that. Federal government 12.83 trillion naira service-wide bill covers salaries, pensions, legacy debts, not presidential slush fund. Now, Harry, this is actually generated a lot of controversies online, and I would love to have, a grasp or a content really based on what this is about. Really, with the major headline that says the federal government of Nigeria has earmarked a whopping 22.15 billion naira in the 2026 budget for the construction, renovation, and furnishing of 106 royal palace buildings across the country. And not just that, an extensive review of the budget document released by Public Accountability Organization yesterday exposed widespread accountability loopholes, showing that 11 palace projects worth 5.85 billion naira have no identified physical locations in the country, making public tracking and oversight impossible. Now, this has got a lot of Nigerians talking.
Now, $1 million question would be, what is it with us and misplaced priorities in this country? There are lots and lots of issues on the front burner that actually deserve our attention, but it seems to me that we are always chasing shadows. And I'm not in any way saying that traditional rulers do not deserve a good place to stay.
And not just traditional rulers, even places of worship as well.
Absolutely. And for me, these are secondary issues. As much as they're important, I believe there are so many more important issues that deserve our attention as a people. And by the time we begin to chase shadows like this, then what impression are we giving the average Nigerian? It actually just goes to prove that we are more interested in chasing peripheral issues rather than actually focusing on issues that affect us. Now, the issue of insecurity has become a canker worm. Even though Donald Trump, President of the United States, just gave President kudos for his efforts so far. But I think there is a whole lot more that needs to be done. Because, like they say, he who wears the shoes knows where it pinches. So we are in the middle of all of this. The average Nigerian that travels from Benin to Lagos, with his heart in his mouth, is still in the better position to score the president in that regard. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying these things are not important, but they are secondary. There are more important issues. There are more pressing issues that deserve the attention of our leaders.
And do not forget that we are really pretty religious in Nigeria.
Exactly.
So when we see news like this, we shouldn't really be surprised. But then again, a lot of things to talk about on the show this morning. And as some netizens would say on the line, that if you actually explain Nigeria to you and you understand,
something is wrong.
Definitely, I don't know. I'm just going to leave it right there. Now we'll take a short break. When we return, we'll move over to the first part of the conversation this morning. Please stay with us.
ITV. ITV. ITV, certainly the best.
The land of Onwa is inhabited by the people with common ancestry, language, religion, economic and socio-political ties. However, irrespective of their subtitle differences in language and culture, they share common traditions. The people are known for their hospitality. Onwa traced their origin to Benin Kingdom. As a result, for a man to find a comfortable place for living, the name Onwa was derived from the largest and longest river in the area, which is known as Onwian or Onwa. It means one who makes merry in affluence.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
Welcome back. Now, President of the Nigeria Bar Association, Afam Osigwe, on Friday dismissed allegations that he was attempting to rig or interfere in the association's national officers' election, insisting that the Electoral Committee of the Nigeria Bar Association operated independently and took no instructions from him. While addressing a journalist in Abuja, Osigwe said allegations that he was backing a preferred candidate were politically motivated and unsupported by any evidence whatsoever. His remarks came against the backdrop of weeks of controversy over the July 18th NBA election, during which some presidential candidates and stakeholders questioned the integrity of the process, called for the election to be postponed, demanded the use of National Identification Number Verification, that's the NIN, and accused the NBA leadership of attempting to influence the outcome of the election. The association consistently denied the allegations, maintaining that only the Electoral Committee was constitutionally empowered to conduct election. Now, we're looking at the aftermath of the NBA election 2026, controversies that actually did mar the election. Well, my guests right here already, and let me quickly introduce Barrister Chris Otasowie, Secretary, Nigeria Bar Association, Edo State. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And also joining virtually this morning, I have Barrister Benjamin Benyam. He is the immediate past chairman, NBA Boko, Benue State. He joins virtually from Benue, Nigeria today. Good morning, Barrister Benjamin. How are you? Okay, well, so while we're trying to regain connectivity with Barrister Benjamin, let me move back to you here in the studio, Barrister Chris. Now, tell us your assessment of the NBA 2026 election.
Okay, thank you so much. Before they're trying to attempt an assessment of the process,
Right.
it's good to also let you understand how the system is structured.
Okay.
You know, the Nigerian Bar Association has a national body and also state branches. Decision flows from the national body to the state body, guided by our constitution. The constitution empowers the National Executive Council to appoint an electoral body in every election year to oversee the conduct of a free and fair election. That election committee is not tied to the apron string of the national officers. It is being appointed by NEC. NEC is a combination of all branch chairmen and secretary nationwide, and chairmen of forums, past president, past secretary. So you can see that it's an amalgam of stakeholders in the association. So that is the body that appoints the electoral body. Before 2016, we had a delegate system of voting where few individuals from the branches are appointed or to represent the entire branch to vote in the national election. Yes, like what you have in the party's primaries.
Okay.
People became dissatisfied with that system of a few persons leaving from the branch to vote the interest of the entire members.
So in a nutshell, those few persons were like delegates, right?
Delegates. So that delegate election paved way 2016 when our leader, Austin Alege, was president, and I introduced what we call a universal suffrage, that every members of the association, as far as you're a financial member, you are qualified to vote, you vote and decide. It's a secret balloting. But we did this through an electronic voting platform. In fact, we were the first to develop that in Nigeria. Yes, like every other system, it comes with its challenges.
Right.
Over the years, when the challenges come up, we look for a way to rectify it. This year's ECMBA was not without challenges, like every human endeavor, but they also took steps to try to ameliorate it, by consulting with the stakeholders, the candidate themselves, and all that. But to say that the election was not fair and fair, I think I will dispute that with you. It was, because I will give an insight into how the voting patterns were. Now, to qualify to vote, you must be a registered member of the association, in the sense that, lawyers are given a unique Supreme Court number, that in fact every lawyer has his own profile in our portal. Now, that unique SCN number is what qualifies you to vote at first. So you have a situation whereby non-lawyers cannot vote in an election, because to vote you must be a lawyer registered at the roll call of the Supreme Court. Now, the second stage is that there is a phone number attached to every lawyer, a registered phone number in our database. These two combinations, what the ECN Elections Committee used in drawing up a temporary and a final voters list.
Okay.
Which members used in assessing their voting.
Supreme Court number and the phone number?
And the phone numbers. And the email, there are three. But this year, because of the problem we had the previous election, a lot of these candidates who also are now complaining came to the stakeholders meeting to say, because when you enter your Supreme Court number, it sends you an OTP.
Right.
It is that OTP that is your password to access the voting platform, see the list of cleared candidates, and vote your preference. Now, when it got to this year's election, there was massive opinion against OTP being sent through email of members, and they asked that the preponderance of opinion and suggestion was that the OTP should be sent to individual members' phone number, not email. So you have a situation in the past when, if your OTP does not come through the phone numbers, it comes through the email. But this time around, it was restricted to the phone numbers only. I think that's where you had some persons complain that they didn't receive OTP on time or at all to vote in an election.
Right, just to fact check you there, regarding the OTP But there are those who actually did say that they preferred the case of the OTP being sent to the mail as regards to the number, because that way it's actually easy, it's easy for them to hack whatever the case may be with the OTP. Lateef Akombe also raised the question. I know it was one of the contestants, the second runner or the first runner up, during the election, where he did say that he preferred them to have even done an NIN. You want to react to all of that?
Yes, like I said, the OTP ought to be, in the previous election, was sent to phone number and email simultaneously. You have a situation where either you receive it here or you receive it. But this time around, it was the same set of persons now in the stakeholders meeting that protested that OTP should not be sent to email. That in previous election, they suspected that people's email were hacked and their OTP was generated to vote for a preferred candidate. That will curb that angle of fraud, because it's difficult for me now to access your text message when it comes through SMS. But people can actually, with the use of technology and all that, hack the mail. So they were afraid, they didn't want that to be sent to the mail. So we all now agree that, okay, let it be sent to phone number in such a way, maybe we'll minimize the issue of, suspected cases of people hacking into email to, harvest OTP that are sent to members to vote.
Okay. Now let's get back to our guest joined in virtually from Benue, Nigeria this morning. Barrister Benjamin, immediate past chairman, NBA Boko Benue State. Thank you so much indeed for your time this morning. We've been talking about the pre-electionary period of the NBA elections, and I'd love to get your view regarding what you observed over time, because there's been a lot of allegations and counter-allegations, especially from Lateef Akombe SAN, one of the major contenders in the election, where he did talk about the fact that a lot of persons were actually disenfranchised, and even before that there were a lot of questions as regards whether the election should be postponed or not. And some persons also did talk about other issues as regards the use of the NIN, which regards the OTP and a whole lot of things. I'd love to get your view regarding it.
Yes, thank you very much. Like politicians, lawyers are also politically inclined, given any opportunity to lead. And the problem of choosing leadership in our country generally has been one of a struggle. Everybody wants to be there. But that notwithstanding, my humble view about the conduct of the present NBA national election is that the elections were conducted. I cannot vouch that the elections were devoid of shortcomings, but to some extent, there was a reasonable achievement. The idea of sending OTP to private members of the voter domain is the best, because emails can easily be hacked. Last year's elections, we had a lot of challenges. Even some people, some of the voters to access their own email, some had forgotten even their password, and there are challenges. But when it comes to using your phone number, it's always a direct message. And so nobody else can access your phone number, your OTP, and then your phone number at the same time, because your device is there with you. And so you are the one to use it and then access the voters register. So on that score, I feel is the best approach in the circumstance. I'm also aware that Lateef Akombe actually made very series of concerns. Of course, it's not the only person. I'm also aware that the Akimboro SN and Akombe SN, they raised series of concerns, which to some extent were reasonable, but they should also be aware that why the election was to kickstart in the early hours of 18th of July, that fateful Saturday, there was a serious technical glitch to the extent that the service providers had to grapple with it. And the electoral committee did not even hide it. They made it clear that the portal was even hacked. And so they had to struggle with it until they had to secure it and then reverse the challenge before we had to proceed with the election. And so it is true that the election has its challenges, but what matters importantly is the ability of the impartial umpire, as the electoral committee, to ensure that everything, every due diligence is carried out and everything is done satisfactorily, and at least if not satisfactorily, to almost the best possible way, so that will be justifiable. And so elections in Nigeria and any given setup, we continue to experience some of the challenges. It's for us to sit up, because these challenges actually educates us so that we can sit up and then strategize, come up with the first all technical, administrative, and all stakeholders involvement, and all practices to prevent some of the issues which are raised in the present.
All right, thank you very much, Barrister Benjamin. Now let me move back to you, Barrister Chris. He made mention that it behooves on the electoral umpire, you know, to the impartial umpire. He called them impartial. Now, how impartial do you think the umpire is in the light of these allegations and counter-allegations?
Okay, they are very impartial in the sense that they are not, like I told you, tied to the apron string of the national officers, or they are not being influenced by virtue of.
You are sure they are not being influenced?
Yes, Part 5 of our Constitution. In fact, there is a post-election audit, and audits that is to be done in every election. At the end of 12 hours of voting, the electoral umpire is supposed to audit and come up with a list of persons that voted in an election and send them to each of the candidates and the members. They've done that. In fact, as I speak to you, the ECMBA today came up with a list of those that voted in this election. In fact, that list contained the names of members who voted, their Supreme Court number, the phone number within which they received their OTP, where and the time, date and time they voted.
Okay.
It's like a self-audit. They audit themselves and give you the result to see. Unlike what you have in the regular Nigerian election, you know, where it's difficult to even audit the election itself. In fact, I'm trying to describe how unbiased the committee is that they audit themselves and put it in the public domain. As I speak to you, they've done that. It was circulated all over the branches. All the candidate has it. So if you have anybody that is not a lawyer or anybody that didn't vote, you will see the list of persons that voted from each branch. We have 129 branches all over the 36 states, including FCT. So the list of Benin branch is with us.
Okay.
We know our members that voted, the percentage that voted. That's how transparent the process can be.
So are you implying that there is no element of truth in the allegation that the NBA president is throwing his weight behind, you know, a certain candidate?
No, that's not true. He has consistently, in fact, at NEC, you know, most of these decisions are taken at NEC. You know, he is also a lawyer. He's a human being.
But you admitted a moment ago that, you know, lawyers are not different from average Nigerians after all.
Yes, because we are Nigerians. We are Nigerians. The fact that we are Nigerians, we are as lawyers, by your training, we are trained to be above board at all time. Yes, we may lead the way, not perfectly, but as of today, the lawyers in this country, when it comes to electoral system, still leads the way. Still better than what you have.
All right. Now, let's quickly run through the numbers. The three major contenders actually came out tops in the 2026 NBA election. Let me start with the least. Olumuyiwa Akimburu, SAN. He polled a total of 5,855 votes. Lateef Omoyemi Akambe, SAN, polled 7,934 votes. And of course, the winner of the election, Onyinkansola Badejo Okunsiya, SAN, polled 12,317 votes. Now, we really have to take a short break now, but when we return, we'll actually take a closer examination at a statement made by Lateef Akambe, where he said that this actually is the worst ever election conducted in the history of the NBA. All of this and more after the break.
Some days, there comes the Ugemobo Festival, which the Oba celebrates outside the palace gate. A pavilion is built of red cloth where rites are performed to drive away all evil spirits still unsatisfied by the year's sacrifices. The Ugemobo Festival is to commemorate an event in Benin history which dates back to 1504 AD.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking about. That's what I said. So when they bullied her,
Yeah.
if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something. You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them up or dragging on both sides, you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss
Welcome back. Now, President Bola Tinubu has congratulated Mrs. Onyinkansola Badejo Okunsiya, SAN, on her election as the first elected female president of the Nigeria Bar Association, while describing her victory as a milestone for the legal profession and a triumph for merit, excellence, and gender inclusion. Now, Tinubu, in a statement issued on Tuesday by his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said Badejo Okunsaya's emergence underscored the increasing recognition of women's contribution to national building and the administration of justice. The president said the senior advocate's distinguished legal career marked by integrity, professionalism, and commitment to justice had earned her the confidence of lawyers across the country. Now, let me move back to you, Barrister Benjamin. Let's get down to the assessment of the election. What do you make out of the statement coming out from Barrister, what's his name now, Barrister Omoyemi SAN, who happened to be the first runner-up of the election, where he did categorically state that this is the worst election so far in the history of the NBA right here in Nigeria?
I think you are referring to Akangbe SAN. My humble view is that he has expressed his personal displeasure with the conduct of the election, but I don't think what he has said is actually or represents a true picture of what transpired. We all agree that given our Nigerian setting, it has been very difficult to conduct large-scale elections without hitches. Virtually every election is amenable to some hitches and glitches. We agree that there are some technical glitches, but the problem started even before the election, where some lawyers had even approached a high court in Oyo State to restrain the electoral committee of the Nigerian Bar Association from conducting the scheduled election on the 18th of July. It was, I think, few days, about on the 14th of July, that the Court of Appeal cleared the air that, look, Oyo State High Court don't even have jurisdiction to have entertained the subject matter, and so even the injunction was, the restraining order was even nullified. And if you look at the underground circumstances, you can agree that the electoral committee has, on their part, done all the best they could, and the Nigerian Bar Association, through the National Executive Committee, also resolved that the election should hold. The reason is that if we continue to postpone elections, it gives a very bad signal, a very bad impression to the entire society. Anytime an election of this nature is postponed, that sends a very bad signal, because it affects the tenure, it affects even the psyche, it affects the integrity of the association. As lawyers, we have to be very careful in whatever we do. Ours is to uphold the rule of law, to promote justice. And so, to me, I feel he raised some concerns which might be genuine, but at the same time, it is not really ideal to conclude or for him to have said that this is the worst election the association has ever had. He has not been participating in the previous election. He has come to contest for NBA president. This is his first step, to my knowledge. This is his first step. And he has to endure that it's possible. There were three aspiring for that position. Is for one person to emerge as the president at a time. I believe strongly that if he was declared the winner of that election, frankly speaking, he will not decline. Number one, he would have actually accepted the outcome of the election. So I believe there was human factor with him that angered him to draw that conclusion that it was election.
Amazing submission. Now back to you, Barrister Chris, as I also get to have your own assessment of the election so far. I would love you to run us through the issue of disenfranchisement that a lot of major lawyers actually did complain about, during the course of the election. There are those who did say that their OTP wasn't working, they didn't get their OTP on time, they couldn't vote. Conversation regarding different links flying all over as regards which one should we even use for the election. And it also states, according to the outcome of everything, that out of over 82,000 members right there in the body, only 25,000 voted. Run us through that.
Okay. Well, the statistics are there.
Right.
I told you this year's election, OTP was sent to individuals a phone number through SMS. Yes, there were complaints that some persons they didn't receive OTP on time or a total absence of receipt of OTP. Yes, we got that complaint, but we feel that it didn't substantially affect the outcome of the election.
You think so?
Yes, we feel so. You see the numbers of persons that voted in the election, it should be separated from the irregularities complained of.
But right now, it's not even a case of low turnout, as we get to see happen in some, political election right here in Nigeria, Harry. It's a case of, I want to vote, but I cannot vote because of the technicalities and the technical issues that actually, surrounded the election.
To us, we feel it's more of a case of voter apathy.
Really?
Yes, because how do we quantify those that didn't receive OTP?
But if they say they didn't receive, don't you think they have a legit reason to say that?
That's what I said earlier, that there's no perfection in every human system. Yes, cases of OTP would arise, no receipt of it on time. Well, I know of a particular member that came to the branch. At the level of our branch, we tried to also set up a support center to entertain members who could not get OTP. We advised them to come to the bar house. In fact, the ECMBA set up a support center, phone numbers to call, emails to reach. If you don't get OTP on time, the steps to take. Because when this election started, because of the compromise that almost took over it when it started. When it started at about 7:45, when it ought to start at about 12, there was this rush. Supporters of every candidate wanted to vote first.
Okay.
That may account for the reason everybody was trying to log it out.
Heavy traffic.
Yeah, heavy traffic. Of course, it's a human-built system.
Yeah. So
that accounted for the delay in OTP. In fact, messages were sent all the time to members that if you request for an OTP, doesn't come within 5 minutes, stay back 20 minutes and reapply. That was to ensure that people don't clog up the system. But a lot of people voted seamlessly. Just the way you have people complaining, we have people who also said they received it once when they requested. So how do we quantify the numbers of those that didn't get OTP? If you generate them, are they up to the number that would have substantially affected the outcome of the elections? Those are questions that we will sit back together as an association, examine and look for how to, surmount these challenges in future elections. So there's always room for improvement.
Okay.
It is not a perfect system. Nobody is coming here to defend the NBA elections as a perfect system. But it is something we can all build on. To say that it was rigged, that is not part of it. Because as I've told you, the audit is out. Those that voted, you can easily see it from your branch, the names. Because we're out here, we know those are no lawyers. When you see somebody's name that is not a lawyer that voted, you can raise an alarm.
Right.
Yes, technical glitch, no receipt of OTP, yes, but it didn't substantially affect the outcome of the election.
Okay, so the person that emerged the winner in this election happens to be a female. And there have been sentiments in some quarters as regards some gender bias in this election. What do you make of that?
Well, I think, you can't stop an idea whose time has come. I think the Nigerian Bar Association at the national level was this time ready for a female leadership right from the start.
Was it because you guys have not had a female leader all along, or she actually won because she deserved to win?
She won. It's a combination of all the factors.
Really?
Yes. She won because she was popular. She won because she was a female. Because don't forget, you had 4 candidates initially in the race, 2 male, 2 female. I think the female themselves came together and said, "Oh, this is our time."
Local.
Yeah.
So you're saying that the females voted massively for her because
look
of
at the
female.
votes of the 2 other male. They were, and compare it, if it was just...
Are you implying that there are more females in the association than male?
No, maybe female took more interest in it because you have the National Women's Forum, a forum of the National NBA that has branches all over 36 states. They are a group. You have the FIDA. You know, I think they all came together. They supported their own. You know, the woman is well deserving. You know, she's a senior advocate.
By your own assessment, of course.
Yes, yes.
I don't know why Harry is trying to bring the gender sentiment to this, but let me move back to Barrister Benjamin. Now, still talking about the newly elected, the first elected female NBA president, Madam President, as some persons are already tagging her right now, Onyikonsola Badejo Okonsaya, SAN. Now, so far so good with the aftermath of the election. There has been so many controversies surrounding it. Now, what do you think she should be doing at this point, especially with aggrieved persons, aggrieved members of the association, the likes of Lateef, Omoyemi, the likes of Olumuyiwa, who did say that he actually reached out to her. That's Lateef now. He called her and she didn't even pick up. What should she be doing at this point?
Thank you. As a noble association, which Nigerian Bar Association is, the new president-elect is the 33rd president of the Nigerian Bar Association, and she's also the second female to lead the Nigerian Bar Association. I have gone down the history archives of the Nigerian Bar Association. She's not the first, she's the second female to lead the Nigerian Bar Association. There is one top secret about women. If they want to make peace, the whole world can be at peace. She has to set up a reconciliation committee, because not just the presidential aspirants that have their grievances, there are other positions, national offices, that there are also grievances, except that the presidential candidates are more strong and loud in their voices. So she has to now set up a reconciliatory committee, because Nigerian Bar Association is one. And if you look at the number, like Lateef Akangbe SN, he scored close to 8,000 votes. That is 7,934 votes, which is huge. It's a very reasonable number. That is the number he scored. And so if his supporters continue to grieve over the activities of the present leadership, either because they did not vote for her, and so she has emerged, and if they continue to grieve, that will affect the progress, the joy, the beauty, and then the nobility of the association. Then Akimboro SN scored about 5,855 votes, which is still a very big, a reasonable number. Now, if you add up the two, you will discover that that is even more than 12,317 votes, which she scored. And so, out of 26,000 voters, you discover that almost half will continue to be grieved and to be disenchanted. And so there is every need for her to set up a reconciliatory committee. If she has called Ikemburu and he has not paid, I think it's not proper. It's not proper. But by the time a reconciliatory committee is set up, the Nigerian Bar Association has heard that we have well-respected citizens, we have leaders, we have national leaders. And so if by the time those people come in, reconciliation will be achieved, there will be peace, there will be stability, and the association will be in a better position to work stronger and stronger under her. But if she fails to do that, there will be another challenge in the association moving forward. So that is my suggestion.
Right, okay. Well, we're still turning our attention to the road ahead. Now, aside the reconciliation committee we've actually, established on this platform, what should be the immediate priorities of the newly elected NBA leadership, moving forward? I actually listened to Oyi Consola, actually, where she was talking about how she was going to put the members of the association at heart. She's going to ensure certain things are actually being put in place to ensure that, the right things are done moving forward. But away from that, let's talk about electoral reforms. And your own suggestion, if you were to give a piece of advice to her, what would you say she should actually focus her attention on?
Okay, yes, first of all, I was to advise her, the first step I agree with my distinguished colleague who said, there's need for reconciliation. Reach out to those that, are aggrieved, unite them. The Nigerian Bar Association is one, and I can assure you, those who lost in this election are called barmen. The bar is bigger than all of us, so we're going to join our hands together to support her to ensure that she succeeds. Secondly, there's need to dissect the election. Like I told you, we keep trying to improve every election year. Just the way you have the National Assembly trying to amend the Electoral Act to cover up for lapses in each election, that is the same thing we do at the level of NBA. Now, we have tried this time to send OTP to phone numbers, excluded email, and we saw that some persons couldn't receive it. So I believe by the time we all put our heads together, we're going to look for ways to reform the electoral system within the NBA so that it will be taken to an enviable height and you have less complaint. And I believe that's one of our priorities. Then I also advise her, she has campaigned to us, brought out her manifesto, they expect her to deliver a manifesto the way she has outlined it to the people. We have confidence in her that she will do that anyway, but I also know that this issue of electoral reforms within the NBA would be revisited and consolidated. Don't forget the criticisms that followed. Anything lawyers do, people tend to criticize, because we hold ourselves above board. We tend to hold ourselves above board. So, like we are the envy of all, we set standards. So whenever there's a little mistake or itches in our affairs, people try to, overemphasize it. It's just like when an individual that is not a pastor that hold himself out not to be clearly commits an offense, you won't see it at the news, but let it be a pastor. You see it everywhere. Oh, pastor did this, pastor did that. That's the same way, because society looks up to us. They expect the highest standards to come within the NBA. So when there's a big little drift, people are interested to say, oh, are they not lawyers? Look at them. We expect that. We also take that into account, and I assure you that the discourse around the election now is very intense. And we are willing to look at how to make it a better platform and set it as an example for future elections in Nigeria.
Absolutely. Well, we really need to take a short break now, but we're still going to turn our attention over to future elections in Nigeria, looking ahead. What are the lessons that can be learned from the 2026 NBA elections right here in Nigeria? Short break, and we'll be back.
thanks for rejoining us. In case you're just joining us, it is TMI on Independent Television. Now, we still have the two barristers in the house, Barrister Benjamin Ben Yam, immediate past chairman, NBA Boko Benue State. He is actually joining us virtually. And of course, we have in the studio Barrister Chris Otasowie, who happens to be the Secretary, Nigerian Bar Association, Edo State. Now, my question goes to you, Barrister Benjamin. You made mention earlier that the new NBA president should be able to organize or set up some sort of reconciliatory committee to bring all the aggrieved members together to ensure that the issues are resolved. But given the body language of these aggrieved members, do you think this is feasible? Do you think it's practicable to bring them together and, of course, to meet their needs and, of course, placate them? Barrister Benjamin, are you there?
Yes, yes.
Okay, I don't know if you got my question.
Yes, I've got your question. I heard you.
Okay, just in case you didn't quite get it, I'm asking. You made mention of the need
I heard
for...
your question very well.
All right, so respond to it then.
Okay. Yes, the two aggrieved presidential aspirants, they are men of high pedigree on the profession. They are men of has also demonstrated that they love them. It's actually not easy to score even 5,000 votes in an association of this nature. So, and then 7,000 votes. The two senior advocates that lost out of the race, all of them are prospective leaders, and as a matter of fact, they have also reached the top standard of this profession as senior advocates. So they are also duty bound to do everything possible to protect the unity of the Nigerian Bar Association. They are also bound to do everything possible to maintain the sanctity of this association and the profession. And so, to the best of my knowledge and conviction, it's easy to have them reconcile. Like I've earlier said, we have very senior leaders and in this profession. And by the time a reconciliatory committee liaises with those caliber of persons, and they will meet with the agreed candidates, then it will be very easy to resolve issues, because all of them were seeking to lead the association is for the progress and the common good of the association. They were not coming to divide the association. And so if for any reason any of them refuse to adhere to reconciliations, we will be tempted to believe that the motive which they were coming to aspire for leadership in the association was not genuine. And so it will be a serious dent on their integrity and pedigree. Because by the time they accept reconciliation, they will now bring out the ideas, the initiatives which they wanted to deploy in developing the Nigerian Bar Association. And that way, it will be of more benefit to the association and the entire society at large. So we don't need division. We don't need disunity. We need progress. We need unity. Divided we fall. United we stand. Nigerian Bar Association is part of the life wire of this country. And given the situation within which we found ourselves in particularly insecurity, and then the Nigerian elections coming just 2027. The entire nation is bound to look up to Nigerian Bar Association to ensure that the right things are done. There is rule of law, and there is fairness. There is sanctity in whatever even the political class is doing. So we don't need division within our house, and they must give us the unity we need from them. They are also leaders, at least having stepped up to the positions at which all of them are right now.
All right. Thank you very much, Barrister Benjamin. I actually do like your spirit. I admire the optimism with which you are addressing these issues. But we shouldn't also forget the possibility of an impasse where some persons refuse to be placated. Now, we've seen several cases in the past where factions were formed as a result of unresolved issues within a system. Do you see that playing out in this context?
Honestly, I don't see it. I don't see it because the Nigerian Bar Association is one unique body that is configured in a manner that, as a member, you cannot divide the association. In fact, it's unethical. It's actually unprofessional for any lawyer to think of dividing the Nigerian Bar Association. It's unethical, and every lawyer knows that. And as senior advocates, they know that very well. So they are stakeholders. And as presidential candidates, the Nigerian Bar Association will continue to look up to them. They have come to a position they need to provide solutions, not problems. They are problem solvers. They cannot project themselves as problem creators. If any politician refuses to reconcile, then definitely the person is not a good politician. And by the way, there is nothing so serious that will prevent the reconciliation. There's nothing so serious. There's nothing so serious. I agree that at the moment, things are not done the way they expect. But frankly speaking, we are all human. If you had appointed, if the Nigerian Bar Association had appointed any of these two presidential aspirants to lead the electoral committee, the hitches we experience, they are bound to still occur, and it will be incumbent on them to do everything possible to redeem the image of the Nigerian Bar Association, as well as the integrity of the electoral umpire. And so it's just that maybe you are wearing a different shoe. You take different movements. That is just what is now transpiring. It's a temporary grievance. It's not as if they can have permanent grudges. No. A lawyer is trained with some special traits.
Right.
You can absorb.
Okay, Barrister, thank you so much. We hear you loud and clear. As we helm the conversation, back to you, Barrister Chris. What are those lessons do you think that the legal body, especially the governing body, the ones who are in charge of the electoral process in the system and the association, can actually pick out from this election as against upcoming elections, in years to come in the NBA?
Well, the lessons are, like the complaints, like I said, the incoming president should ensure that the various complaints that were associated with this election are itemized. Let a committee be set up to look at it, examine it. Suggestions should be, entertained to see how future elections, these things will not occur in future elections. Okay. In fact, the standard of this election should be raised higher in future elections to ensure that the level of complaint are minimal. There cannot be any human system that will be devoid of complaint. You recall even the American elections during the second term of Trump, after the first, you see that he even had cause to complain about their own election, and that's a system we all look up to. So what I'm trying to say is that there is never a time we'll have an electoral system that will be devoid of complaints, itches, and all that. But the level of complaint should be minimized so that by the time you look at it, you look at all the factors, the complaint, the probe in the whole system should be better. By the time you look at it, substantially you see that compliance with a free and fair election has been carried out. That is what we all look up to as an election. There will always be complaint, but like I said, these senior advocates who lost are great bar men. They are men that are interested in uniting the bar.
Are you just saying this to massage their ego?
No. For you to say you want to lead an association, you must have the love of the association at heart.
Right.
Yes. Taking that there are some persons that are trying to take advantage of the system, these irregularities, to organize the Nigerian Bar Association. You see them already forming their own group. That desperation has always been there. And if you watch, after every election, they try to rear up their heads to ensure that they use that opportunity to divide the bar. But the bar is one strong,
indivisible force.
Yes, so it's difficult. I know that we will come together as a family and move the bar to a greater height.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're looking forward to that, especially now that we have a female president, Madam President. I'd love to rub that in on the show. Now back to you, Barrister Benjamin. Lessons that people actually, the members of the association can learn, especially the electoral body in the system, as against the 2027 NBA election.
Sorry, can I get to a question, Claire?
Okay, so we've been talking about the lessons, and I would love to also get your take on the lessons that can actually be spotted on this election.
Okay. The first I would like to suggest is that the Nigerian Bar Association in subsequent elections need to improve the technical skills, particularly the security of the service platforms. That is very important, because what transpired this year shouldn't be allowed to resurface in subsequent elections. Then the second suggestion I would like to make is that the stakeholder involvement should be stepped up. I think there is a disagreement on the way. Why the electoral committee was engaging with stakeholders, there were some disagreements on the way, and those disagreements were not fully resolved. In subsequent elections, there is every need to ensure that all grievances or concerns raised by the stakeholders are resolved timeously before proceeding to the polls. And then there is also another serious challenge which I feel should be addressed in subsequent elections. Nigerian Bar Association is an association that has over up to 8,000 members. Granted that some may not be ICT compliant.
Onwa is rich in culture and traditions. The people are a mixture of traditional worshippers, Muslims and Christians. Onwa is located at the northern part of Edo State. It consists of 2 local government areas, that is Onwa West and Onwa East. It has a total number of 13 clans and 21 political wards, according to National Population Commission 2006 census. The population of Onwa people is put together at 251,686. The people love tradition and culture. Historically, the people ancestors in deep quest to hand down on their future children a society of love and friendship.
ITV, certainly the best.
In a rare display of botanical brilliance, the palm tree defied natural norms, sprouting multiple branches that bear fruits. This rare occurrence has become a wonder to many, as experts are calling it a one-in-a-million phenomenon. Could this multiple-headed marvel hold secrets to agricultural breakthroughs, or is it simply a freak accident of nature? An agronomist with Nigeria Institute for Oil Palm Research, NIFOR Benin. The strange palm tree also raises issues of a blend of science with human interest and cultural significance for maximum impact.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones it usually affects is the lungs.
Epilepsy is a neurological problem.
Okay.
It is an injury in the brain which causes someone to begin to convulse, to go into fits.
It is curable, but the cure is a long-term thing.
If you eat well and avoid those risk factors that will make your immunity to be down, then the risk of contracting tuberculosis will be reduced.
If you're healthy, then you're wealthy.
The Ugewe is the final ceremony of the series of festivals. It is one of peace and lightheartedness, following the more solemn of the ritual year. Ugewe is the festival of the Ewe leaves, a symbol of good luck and joy. It is the most popular of all that heralds the dawn of a Benin New Year, new vow, newness of life and freshness of life, and a new hope for the future. In the evening, the Ewe leaves are presented to the Oba of Benin in grand style in a colorful ceremony. The Ihogbe Society, amidst singing and dancing, bring the sacred leaves that symbolize good luck, blessings, peace, and prosperity. Each of the senior members of the Ihogbe proceeds to give the sacred leaves directly to the Oba of Benin, and others put theirs at his feet.
Hello and welcome to the continuation of this morning on ITV from our Lagos Network studio. I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels. Thank you for finding time to join us out there as our viewers, finding time to sit down and watch our programs. This morning we'll be looking at INEC. Is INEC actually prepared for the 2027 election? Hopefully, we hope that all the criticism on INEC is taking at looking at them and trying to make amends where they think Nigerians are complaining. And also, we're going to be having the Osun elections, governorship elections coming up soon, and that will have a test on INEC to see if actually they are prepared for the general elections of 2027. In looking at this with me this morning in the studio, I have Bishop James Okocha. Bishop James Okocha is a political analyst who is going to be discussing and looking at this with me this morning in the studio. Bishop, you're welcome. General elections.
Well, thank you for bringing me on the program this morning, and thank you Nigerians for always being part of this. Before I say anything, I want to appreciate your studio, and I want every other media outfit to emulate certain things in the studio. Spend all your time to promulgate things that will help to boost the civil society. In fact, virtually every program in this studio is gearing towards having a better Nigeria. So I sincerely, appreciate that. About INEC, I want to say that to me.
Anyway, before you go on, let me quickly say thank you for appreciating us.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think there are a lot of issues with INEC. It's been, and then I don't know the degree of preparedness they have as regards 2027. Previously, whenever there is election, there will always be a lot of irregularities from INEC. At times, people will go to vote, they will stay from morning till 12, and they will tell us accreditation will start by 8 a.m. But in some polling areas, you will stay 12 o'clock. You say INEC, presence will not be seen. I mean, previously, and a lot of issues like that, glitches and things like that. on the previous elections. Regarding 2027, I don't think Nigerians expect to have excuses because the money I'm projecting to use for this election, I'm hitting a trillion, over 800. You understand? You can't vote in such money and dream to receive an excuse. But assessing from what has been there, I think that readiness is not, I can't find it because, people are registering. And then the link that was shared online, ask people around, for some days now. We still have like 3 days to go or something. But for some days now, that link is no longer functioning. You get it? And for me, I've been talking about, I call this registration continuous registration exercise. That's the reason, I want to start from the point. That's the reason why they should be time. We say we are registering now, and they have from now to this time we stop people from registering because on daily basis people are hitting 18. On daily basis people are hitting 18. I think that should be really, really continuous.
A continuous exercise.
People should register anytime they talk 18 or change mind to participate in civil process. They should just go there and register. That's number one. Number two, I expect also INEC to be updating us because they are an institution to serve the public. You saw last election, we had an INEC that was updating Nigerians on step to step of the things they are doing. I suppose this INEC also to be updating us, to be interactive. Yes, they are there to serve the people. So if you look at it from my own assessment, it seems to me like they are not yet ready. They are not yet ready. From my own assessment, because there are things I think we should have been seeing. The last INEC chairman, you see him coming out to talk with Nigerians, to even visit the crowd, not even talking virtually, to in person and communicate to the people. And when these communications go on, you see where people can ask questions, where people have concerns. But I have not seen that kind of openness in this current INEC. So I am calling for that kind of openness so that can make their input. Nigerians can express where we're having challenges. I think a lot of work still has to be done as regards preparation up to 2027. It's just a few days from today. Don't forget it.
Yeah.
So for me, INEC is not yet ready. There are lots to be done before we can boast that we have an electoral commission that is standing firm to handle our free and fair election.
Okay, Bishop, you in your own opinion, you say INEC is not ready, but we have also had INEC official who say that you can now comfortably vote from your home. How possible do you think this will be?
That you can now comfortably
vote from your home?
Vote from your home.
Yes, you can cast your vote from your home.
You see, this is just the best thing to be done. But that statement, I'm not comfortable with it.
How visible is it?
That's what I'm saying. If registering of members, getting your voter's card is having this kind of issue, if you can't even, this one is not as if anybody is trying to win or lose. Now, how do you think that the one that somebody will win or lose, that the process will be free? INEC should not play us the kind of game they have been playing, because Nigerians are getting wiser every day.
But let me quickly ask you on same that you can actually cast your vote from your house. If that is possible, do you think it's a good move?
That's the best thing. You see, I have been on different fora, to advocate for that. But because we don't like to do things transparently in Nigeria, that's why such electronic, that kind of voting is not happening. In one state where I stay, at the Keja here, some time ago wanted to vote who becomes the estate chairman. I was in Abuja. I voted. Immediately I voted, they saw my vote. So it is doable. It is very, very doable. But Nigeria will not do that. You know why? Because we like to, we don't like transparency.
Bishop, you're just complaining that Nigeria will not do that. But we had one of the INEC officials who said that you can now actually vote from your home.
I am believing him, let me believe him. But you know that this is not the first time INEC has made us a promise. In 2023, they promised us, RF, real-time electronic transmission. And you saw what happened in presidential election. They came up the next day and said there were glitches. And they were ordered, like the Senate and the House of Reps. Those things were done the same time. You didn't have glitches on the senatorial election, no glitches on the Reps. They were done the same time. You only have glitches on the presidential. So we are used to this story. And the reason why we talk about it is because we want INEC to know that we are used to their story. And we will not take their story any longer. We want a transparent election. We want a free and fair election in 2027. They shouldn't tell us the story that when I vote from my house, look at the NBA election that happened. People are complaining that they voted like that and the link didn't go through. So they should not bamboozle us with all these things. Let them, if we are voting, if we're going to we're used to it. Let us go there and vote a free and fair election. We count it, they count it, they record exactly what there is. So them not bring something else, they will start us something tomorrow. That among all the voters that voted at home, maybe 5 million will be invalid. Let them not play us anymore.
Let's practical steps. What practical steps do you think INEC should take to rebuild public confidence? Because you are a Nigerian, you are a public figure, or rather you are a Nigerian. So now you're complaining that you have confidence for INEC. So what steps do you think INEC should take to rebuild this confidence in Nigerians?
It is not difficult to change the mind of Nigerians. Just do what I'm saying you will do. Just do it. If I do it 8%, just for a judge. Don't stand. Election is coming before the main election. Let them use that to show us they are ready for transparent election. Do you know at times if it's just a state election that INEC is doing, state election, they will still complain of irregularities.
We've had past state elections, and then we had the local government election in FCT. What's the judgment on INEC in all of those?
If you bring that FCT matter here, you just know that what I'm telling you is this. Do you understand me? What I'm telling you of not being prepared is what it is. Look at only FCT. Check what happened. They gassed people. People were gassed at the polling station, the polling unit. Are you getting it? So if we go by all those things, our confidence will never. We can't give them vote of confidence. But let's call it the mistake of the past. Now, let's use the next election to prove to Nigerians can do what you can.
That's your election.
No, election. Supposed not to be partisan. I'm supposed to have sympathy for any candidate. Understand me? With this kind of money that I'm getting, I don't expect them to bribes. I expect them to go out to Nigeria that once and they could do it. So steps, let them prove through election that INEC can be really independent.
Let's talk independence. We want that Nigerians will want that INEC is independent as its name reflects. But let's look at transparency. How is it important? Is transparency in voters registration, results transmission, and coalition?
See, this thing goes beyond the election. There is nothing that will all right, that will make us to feel like Nigerians if transparency in the election leaders. It's beyond the election. It goes. It will affect our character. Will Nigerian issues. If you are there, you see how many people, I spoke of people, there's not interested. They say, why? They say, because our votes don't count. Too many stuff of Nigerians.
How do you think this can change in the mindset of Nigerians? Because a whole lot of Nigerians believe that their votes don't count. And they also believe that INEC is not doing the right thing. How do you think this can be changed?
See, the way it can be changed is I am in polling station XYZ and I cast my vote. I hung around. You counted it, right? When they will call that polling, my polling unit in Abuja. Let what they call there in tandem with what I witnessed. Because people do have their own results. Like if I am an agent of a or maybe a voter, people stay around. They count the election.
At what point does this numbers change?
Well, most of the time, in between, in between the polling unit and getting to Abuja, you know. So before you know it, things we hear from Abuja will be different from what you have. All right. So that's why we're pushing for real-time electronic transmission.
Yeah.
And of course, the same people that are telling you right now that you are going to vote, all right? You are going to vote through a link. The same people did not allow real-time electronic transmission. So tell me how transparent you think that process will be. Let INEC show us, I said it before, with Osun election, let what we count as be what the INEC will pronounce for us. Just like what happened in Abia State in 2023 election.
Okay, I was going to come to 2023 election. There was a 2023 elections, okay? And Nigerians also complained. I'm sure you also complained.
Yes, sir.
A lot of Nigerians complained. But what lesson should INEC learn from these 2023 elections? There must be some lessons to be picked out from the 2023 elections so they don't make the same mistake. What lessons do you think they can learn from?
Well, if it is lessons Nigerians can from that, I can confidently say, because I doubt if INEC is taking any lesson. It seems to me like they just have a culture where they want to do their own thing. So irrespective of what you feel, or what happens. And that's why we are pushing. We believe, for me, I'm thinking they should learn a lesson. But I can't say the lesson they have learned. But I think one of the lessons they should learn, I'm suggesting to them, is to learn that Nigerians are getting wiser. We have become aware of their insincerity. We are aware right now. And then and we don't wish to continue with this trajectory of INEC, you know, messing up with our mandates. Because right now, we don't want INEC to decide who will be our leader. We don't want the court to decide who will be our leader. We want us to decide by our voting. We count it. If I have a candidate and my candidate goes out there and I see that the vote he got is less, I will celebrate whoever that wins because you become the people's mandate. And everybody will, you know, all hands will be on deck to make the government work. Are you getting it? But when we perceive that, you know, there is a threat somewhere that is undermining the people's, you know, mandate, that's why you see people, everybody getting angry on daily basis, losing interest on national issues.
Will losing interest help this issue? How do you sensitize the people out there for them not to lose interest, you know, to be able to live and cast their vote come 2027?
First of all, National Research Commission agents, I don't per se, but this vote education, you know, first of all, is one of the things, this activity, you know, it's one of the awareness that the orientation agency should pick up right now. By now, that should have seen them in every nook and cranny, you know, to reawaken the Nigerians, trying to tell them, okay, we know that there could be some irregularities here, and this time around, you know, we are going to do these things differently. First of all, let's make that promise. You know, that promise will go a long way. See, don't abandon us. When we cry for a foul play, don't push us by the side. Don't abandon us. Nigeria belongs to everybody. And we want to see a better Nigeria. The masses want to see a better Nigeria. A Nigeria that works for everyone. Do you understand me? So if an orientation agency, a government agency is coming to tell us, okay, we have seen the fault, you know, of the last election. Okay, you people made this complaint that that glitches that happened, you know, really weighed you people down. Your enthusiasm to, you know, national issues just got flattened. All right, but right now we're going to do the things differently. At least that promise will get a long way. Somebody should be addressing us. Orientation agency should be addressing us. INEC should be addressing us so that we can find a way, something to hold them accountable for. So let them talk to us. Let them update us on the things happening. We are Nigerians. We want to know. We want to know the processes that things are happening. Don't just go there and do your own thing and abandon us like what we say does not count. Let INEC open up. Let rotation agencies, speak to Nigerians. All right. I think it will go a long way. Then let them use the small election that is coming to prove to us that really we are ready, to do things differently.
We hope INEC does all of this that you're talking about. So go to the political parties. We have the opposition political parties. We have the ruling party. What role should political parties play in ensuring credible elections come 2027? Because I'm sure the political parties also have roles to play. We don't just leave it to INEC alone. So what roles do you think these political parties should play to ensure
voters education? This is supposed to be one of the duties of a political party, to give voters education, and Nigerian political parties don't do that. All we do in Nigerian political party is to share rice. All right. So they should do voters education, even if you don't belong to my party. All right. They should just create that awareness. The people that don't belong to party in Nigeria, they are like 80% of Nigerians. They don't belong to political party.
For real?
I'm telling you, how many people are in political parties? People do their own thing. People that come to vote, they are Nigerians. They are not partisans. They can just pick up a candidate. Like last election, 2023, there are too many people I know that never had gotten involved in anything political, and they just, casted their votes and they go back to their businesses. All right? So
at that point, they're just looking at the personality, not the party.
Exactly. So the political parties should go out. There are parties that don't even know their manifesto. They should go out and let people know their manifesto. Let people, it's just because everything is shrouded in ambiguity, like I was saying. Parties should let us know. The ADC should let us know their manifesto. The NDC should let us know their manifesto. The ruling party should talk to us. Not just at the day of election they will come out. Do you understand? So political parties have role. And also when we talk about electoral irregularities and then whatever it is, parties also have roles they play. There are major players in party that also play a role to influence INEC decisions. This vote buying we're talking about, it's not INEC that does vote buying. Yeah. It's the political parties. So the political parties should also be called to order. And unfortunately, many people that have been arrested for, giving money while voting is going on, we don't see them being persecuted.
And so that helps it to continue.
Definitely. So you can't make laws and without enforcing the law. Let's tighten up our political, circle, because this is where, everything happens. People that come out of these political activities, they make our policies. They decide our destinies. They decide the destinies of our unborn children. So if we don't tidy these things up, we keep just rigmaroling at the same spot. So I'm saying that political parties should take up the responsibility of voters' education primarily, and let us know their what do you call it, their manifesto.
Manifestos.
Yes.
Okay. I was actually going to talk about vote buying, but now you have talked about it. We do not have just vote buying. We also have electoral violence, where ballot boxes are grabbed, where people are killed. We have seen where people were beaten in polling units, where guns were shot in polling units. Who is to, mind all of this? Is it the political party, or the security, or it should be a combined effort to try and stop this?
It should be a combined effort, but to be honest with you, corruption has eaten up all the, into the fabric of, the people that handle the election in Nigeria. And I am telling you that if INEC can dare politicians and declare, and they will mean it, that people can comfortably vote from their homes without their so-called glitches, all right, without playing pranks on that would have been the best. You can't come into my home and shoot me. There's no how you can carry the ballot box.
But is voting not supposed to be a secret affair? How do people know who you vote for and decide to shoot?
Well, you see in Nigeria, people can trace you. People can know your passion. It's a secret thing. But don't forget that the polling unit where you are voting is around where you stay. You do have conversation. Your conversation has exposed your intention, has exposed your sympathy. So people know who you are supporting. Even when you try to pretend, people definitely will know who you support. So for that reason, once they see you at the voting unit, they know. At our Agor area, 2023 election, there was somebody came down and declared, say people from Agor should not come out and vote. It's all over the place. Why? Because he felt in his mind that these people in Agor will have a voting pattern. Just assume that. So that is how bad it has gotten to. You know, that is how bad, you see, religion and tribe has not played a good role in Nigerian politics. And until we deal with these things, all right, I see this vice keep repeating itself.
You know, we've had a guest in this studio who also said he was giving quick notice during the 2023 elections because of the particular person that he supported. And we hope all of this will change come 2027, because that won't actually help us to vote properly. Okay, let's look at technology. INEC has been allocated, funds have been allocated to INEC for these upcoming elections, and we're thinking and hoping that INEC will introduce more technology. So do you think this technology will improve election credibility while reducing manipulations?
It's a certainty. It's a certainty. See, when we introduce systems in our operations, we make things easy. Things wrong with transparency. Let me give an example before I talk about that INEC. You see, there was a time I was on a project on how people can clear their goods at the wharf, right? Without going to, like, you can, the way people slot in a coin, all right? Like if I go to shopping, right, I slot in a coin. The coin will tell me how long I've stayed. You can see how much of ease that has brought in that sector. You don't need to go and queue, you know, before one person that is collecting money looking for, you know, balance to give you and all of that. You just get your coin, slot it in. You see how much, you pay, you go. Now, you can do this in every sector in Nigeria. You can do this work. And there is nothing else that can give us that confidence more like technology, because you cannot bribe technology. You can't change the mind of technology. Are you getting it?
It cannot be manipulated.
You cannot manipulate it, except you stop the oppression. It can't be manipulated. So, by the reason of the kind of money that have been voted in, if INEC will come up with a technology, in fact, there is nothing you cannot achieve in technology. And Nigerians are very, very good when it has to do. So, if I can, at the comfort of my we use electronic transfers to do money.
Yeah.
And when I send the money right now, it will hit you right now. We can also do our voting like that. So it's a good idea. It's good to talk about it, and I hope INEC will hear this. If they can bring technology into our voting, it will curb violence. It will curb electoral boxes snatching. Do they still do that snatching anywhere in the world? People come out with paper, casting their vote. Somebody will just take up the ballot box and run away. Do you still see it anywhere in the world anymore? We shouldn't present ourselves to the world like people that are backwards.
Okay, Bishop, we're just hitting on INEC and INEC. It's not INEC that grabs these ballot boxes.
Yeah.
They're Nigerians that grab the ballot boxes too.
Yeah.
So how can we stop them from doing this? What sensitization can we give them, or what can we say to them to make them understand that all of that shouldn't play out during the elections? Because INEC didn't ask anybody to go grab ballot boxes.
Good.
Nigerians are the ones grabbing the ballot boxes and shooting.
Good.
I have not seen an INEC staff coming out to shoot. You know, so how do we pass the message to Nigerians to say this has to stop?
Okay, this question is in two dimensions. You know, we keep hitting on INEC because INEC can do something differently. It mustn't be casting vote into a box. All right?
Yeah.
That's why we're hitting INEC. The INEC can come out with an innovation that can warrant, you know, this kind of election we have been doing to be outdated. That's on the INEC side. Then on the Nigerian side, I am telling you with all sense of responsibility that our electoral system has been corrupted. It's become a norm. There are young people that have been waiting for that season of ballot snatching because that's the only time they can make real money. And there are politicians, they know that they don't have that influence to win election, and they are waiting for that moment. Even any boy you see that does that, somebody sent him. Our political parties should first of all, like I said, talk to their candidates, because candidates are the ones, politicians are the ones that are sending people to snatch boxes. And because you and I know that it's not easy to change the mindset of Nigerian politicians. So why can't we beat them, Baji? If it is a system that they have benefited from. You saw how they messed up with the new INEC whatever. That can tell you that they're not ready for change. If they are going against electronic transmission, that tells you they're not ready for change. That tells you they have something at the back of their mind. So how can INEC beat the politicians to their games? It's only to introduce technology, because talk from today till tomorrow, Nigerian politicians will do anything desperately to win the election. So political parties cannot manage them, because it will get to a point where parties will do the best they can do, but individuals play their game.
Don't you think sanctions should be given to these politicians?
Definitely. I told you that the whole system is corrupt. Even that sanction, INEC should also sanction if a politician goes to court and it's proven that you involve in any electoral malpractice or the other. INEC should come up and say, such a person, we will not accept you. It should be part of the screening. INEC should also say, if we are screening and we see that there is a malpractice you conducted in the time past, we will not screen you through. This bottleneck should be there to checkmate the excesses of Nigerian politicians. If you just leave everything bare, they will do whatever they have to do to have what they want to have. So INEC has a role to play. The party has a role to play. The police has a role to play.
I hope all of this changes, because we still have a few months to the 2027 general elections. And just like you said, ITV has always been trying to,
Sure.
Yes, so we hope that they're listening to us and will be able to change all of this. But you just said that the police has a role to play, INEC has a role to play, the political parties has a role to play. So that brings me to my next question. What about the religious bodies and the civil society? What roles do they have to play to promote peaceful votes?
Okay, first of all, I want to be very emphatic on that. If any religious body is excusing itself from active participation in the process of picking up a leader in a country where you belong, your head needs to be examined. Because the people that will stay aloof after you vote, they will say this one is the wrong candidate. They will go and pray. Your fasting and prayer will not kill a leader. The only way to handle it is to participate. We are Nigerians. And I'm telling you that the religious bodies should have a role to play, because most of these politicians are loyal to one Alpha, one pastor, one native doctor, or the other. So if the pastor, if the Alpha, if the native doctor has, been telling a candidate that come from their circle that if you do X, Y, Z, I will withdraw my support from you, I will stand against you, it will go a long way to checkmate the excesses. But it's unfortunate that our religious, bodies are, whatever a candidate of their interest does, they can comfortably come and defend it. And it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate. You know, that brings me to, you know, the budget. There's the issue in the budget right now, that there is a money that was allocated to religious bodies. You know it. Now, see, I was on a podcast yesterday. I was asking a question. What is that money for? Could this be the reason why some religious bodies have lost their voices in correcting leaders? Because go check, both in your Quran, both in the Bible, the prophet of the old days, they correct political leaders. But today, the political leaders, you know, correct, put in shape some religious leaders. So I think there's an aberration somewhere. Something has gone bizarre somewhere. The religious body should know that they have a role to play in nation building. They have a role to play in putting the politician, you know, on check. And civil society, I don't understand what we are doing in Nigeria. Civil society should not be partisan, and they should not be voiceless. Civil society should be very vocal. But here in Nigeria, you see a criminal charge or allegation could come against somebody. Before you know it, you see some CSOs will come out and say, we are 50 CSOs. We are declaring that this person did not commit such offense. And is it your duty to do that? It's God that should do that. I saw this happen last month. Over an issue, somebody was alleged. Civil society came up immediately and said, no, the allegation is wrong. Civil society should be non-partisan. They should seek for justice. They should speak the truth at all times. If we don't correct our politicians will do us.
Well, that's a lot. But let's look at criticism currently facing INEC. You know, INEC has been criticized about a whole lot of things. Justified. What are those criticisms? Do you think they're justified from the criticisms? If you know some of the criticisms, in your own opinion, what are the criticisms facing INEC?
Like I tell you, we are, you know, we have experienced INEC. In fact, all through my years in, you know, in nation building, participating in having my civic duties, we have been dealing with INEC. And then I don't remember when we can come up and say INEC has done very beautifully well. And we have been expecting that, you know, there should be, we mustn't see automatic change one day, but we expect that they should not retrogressive experience. We're supposed to see improvement on every electionary year. There should be something better, but because we're not seeing it like that, that's why you see all picking. Like what I told you that one of the things we have criticized is lack of transparency in handling certain electoral matters. Now, I told you about the link of registration. Yeah. All right. When somebody cannot access his voter's card, you are trying to trample on that person's rights. That's number one. Number two, when I come out to vote and you told me accreditation will be by 8 a.m., I will come there. I will stay till 2 of you are not there. You are trampling on my rights. And I may shock you that at times there are even people that don't see morning till night. The reports are there. Now, the reason for this criticism is not to paint the commission black. Is to let them know that in case this thing didn't come to your table, and there is no other way. Most of the time, you write them, you won't see the response.
They don't respond.
Does INEC, are there institutions in Nigeria that feel they are accountable? And that's why someone like me and people like me, we have been advocating that institutions, all right, should be accountable. Political personalities and leaders should be accountable to us. Because whoever that leads any institution, we put them there. They should be accountable to us. And because such things are not there, they will not, you wouldn't even know what is being cooked. So we are asking that let them listen to the complaints. If we say things that are not right, let them also come on air and debunk and say, no, this is not right. The perception you have about this is not right. Because I can't know everything they are doing. I'm talking from outside. All right? They can come out and, shaping our perception of what they are doing and of the entire, commission. So these criticisms, like I said, is to let them know where we're having shortcomings. Let INEC, the House spokesperson, let them be, especially before this election, let them be coming to talk to us, and then they will hear our own suggestions.
Okay, Bishop, that brings me to one question a lot of Nigerians are actually wanting to get an answer to. Do you think INEC has sufficient independence to conduct a free and fair election? Do you think they are being interfered? Their activities are being interfered?
INEC is not independent. You can't be a referee. Not be a referee in a match you are playing. Or you be a referee in the match you are playing. Or you appoint a referee in a match you are playing. How would Nigeria work these things out? That the president should not be appointing INEC chairman. There has to be a way Nigeria should know, is it civil society that should vote or whatever? But once the president is the one who appoints the INEC chairman.
But in 2015, when the President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan was defeated, he appointed the INEC chairman. So what do you think was different from now?
Well, let me tell you. You see, there are appointments that come by volition. There are appointments that come by pressure. People can tell you this is who you appoint, and because you don't want things to go bad, there are circles, there are cabals. So when a cabal dictates to you who to appoint over a thing, he has his interest. He has his game he's playing. So I don't know how Jonathan came about appointing who we appointed. But I knew that during Jonathan, there were interests here and there. So a major player can tell you, this is my lot. Give to this person. And he knows that that lot is someone he is planting to play a game in tomorrow. And it's different from somebody I looked at and I appointed by my own volition to do my biddings. But however the case may be, let's separate the INEC from presidency. Because if I am the president of Nigeria tomorrow and I appoint someone, even if I didn't tell that person, do this to my favor, that person's conscience will tell him, there are millions of Nigerians that are dead that should have appointed. This man that saw me worthy, how do I repay him? Do you understand me?
Okay, Bishop, quickly, because we don't have enough time. But we're talking about INEC, not having enough sufficient independency. We also have the professor in Abia State. She's a commissioner in INEC. She did the right thing. Don't you think this has to do with personalities?
It has to do with personalities. Mm-hmm. But that woman was not appointed, all right, by a player. She wasn't appointed by the governor. So it's INEC that brought her there. And then she being one of a kind, decided to go for what is the truth. But I ask you, how many Nigerians will see millions without bowing to it?
That's why I said personality.
Personality play a role. Personality plays a major role. But the role that personality plays is not much. Because some people, not everybody that you see that, there are people that change result at gunshots. Wow. At gunpoint rather. So there are too many things. But to just make this INEC to be independent, we can't stop talking about it. Separate INEC from presidency.
Okay. Bishop, just because of time, quickly in 1 minute, what message do you have for Nigerians ahead of the 2027 elections in 1 minute?
Yes, don't lose hope. People should not cave in. We have to keep doing it, and one day it will work. 2027, make sure you come and vote. Go. We have a few days to end the voters registration. Please go to the local government. Make sure you have your PVC. It's your power to deciding who leads you.
Good. Thank you so much, Bishop. Go out there to get your PVC. Like Bishop said, it's your power to decide on who leads you. Thank you, Bishop, as always. Thank you for finding time to be here.
Thank you so much.
And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for sitting down to watch This Morning on ITV. We are taking you back to Benin. Program continues. I am Patricia Uremuge-Rebs.
Top of the morning to you, and thanks for joining us on ITV News for this time. I am Harry Igboje. The distribution of 8,000 bags of fertilizer to over 12,000 profiled small-scale farmers in Edo State has been officially flagged off by the federal government in collaboration with the government of Edo State. Ofuri Aneto reports that the policy is part of government strategies to enhance food security under the renewed Hope agenda, in line with the Edo State government's SHINE agenda for the agricultural transformation.
The Edo State Commissioner for Agriculture and Food Security, Honorable Dr. Jerry Uwangwe, described the exercise as a federal government intervention to ease the high cost of fertilizer and boost farming.
This ceremony is not just a formal exercise, but a reflection of the federal government's continuing commitment towards ensuring food availability and security, which is in line with the Edo State SHINE agenda.
Permanent Secretary of the Ministry, Mrs. Bamayi Osedebame, alongside the Director of Agriculture, said over 12,000 genuine farmers were profiled across the 18 local government areas ahead of the distribution exercise.
We went around the 18 local governments, informing all the smallholder farmers that the state is interested in them. They should be profiled so that they can benefit from the state and benefit from the federal government.
This is a renewed Hope agenda for everybody. This fertilizer will be used to improve crop production.
Edo State Coordinator, Federal Ministry of Agriculture, and representative of the National Agricultural Development Fund commended the renewed hope agenda and assured farmers of a transparent distribution process.
After the distribution, we are expecting to have more yield of agricultural produce in Edo State.
I want to appeal to everybody to make sure we have enough fertilizers that will go around for 5 farmers.
Beneficiaries described the intervention as timely.
I want to say a very big thank you to our Otokinadu governor.
The exercise featured presentation of fertilizer to the farmers and the signing of a memorandum of understanding between the Edo State government and the National Development Fund.
So far, as of today, we have received 8,000 fertilizers. It's going to be shared across the 18 local governments.
From Benin, Ofure and Neto, ITV News.
The Rotary clubs in Benin have reaffirmed their commitment to improving healthcare through maternal and child health outreaches. The clubs under Rotary International District 9141 made the reaffirmation while donating medical items amongst others at the Oluku Primary Health Center in Benin City. Esther Goro reports.
The items donated include oxygen cylinders, delivery beds, maternal and child kits, amongst others. There were also health talks for expectant mothers as well as nursing mothers. Assistant Governor Elizabeth Ativier said Rotary's guiding principle of service goes above self and beyond donations, adding that the outreach also focuses on educating mothers to promote healthier families.
We decided to supply materials and also to take care of delivery kits for women who are pregnant and are going to have babies, and also to talk to them and educate them.
President of the Rotary Club of Benin, New Etete, Ekide Okiaisebo, said July is dedicated to maternal and child health by Rotary International.
Our basic purpose of being here is because in this month of July, in Rotary, is for maternal and child health as an organization to come and make the expectant mothers healthy.
Some Rotarians, including Dr. Osawunyi Irowa, Ogunya Kinu Kayode, amongst others, commended the interventions.
This little effort we are putting in from our new resources, collective support from all persons who are Rotarians, will help to reduce this death that we normally experience and even the morbidity, that the sicknesses that we encounter in children and in mothers. We are able to provide the oxygen cylinder and food delivery bed and the to them.
Matron of the health facility, Ago Natasha, and some beneficiaries appreciated the Rotary Club.
We are here to say thank you very much.
The highlight of the outreach was the presentation of the items by the President, Rotary Club of Benin United, Rotarian Rihanna Abdul Wahab. From Benin, Esther Ogoro, ITV News.
And the management of Independent Television and Radio has expressed deep appreciation to the Vice Chairman of the station and former Governor of Edo State, Sir Chief Dr. Lucky Nosaka Ibenejio, over his unwavering support for the organization, particularly the construction of the new ultra-modern communications office complex at Igosa, Benin City. Donald Damien reports that a commendation was made during an appreciation visit to the former two-time Governor of Edo State.
The Managing Director of Independent Television and Radio, Engineer Elvis Obaseki, led members of the management team on the appreciation visit, commending Sir Chief Dr. Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion for his steadfast commitment to the growth of the station, especially his support for the new communications office complex. Engineer Obaseki described the Vice Chairman's contribution as visionary and invaluable.
The vision is broad, and we cannot but remember the visionary who in his book, everything that has to do with him is always blazing the trail and daring where mortars dread. When broadcasting came, he took the first lead.
In separate remarks, Executive Director of Finance and Administration, Lady Serena Ojomo, Executive Director of Operations, Chief Eda Ogbedewose, Director of Independent Radio, Pastor Dan Omozusi, and the Deputy General Manager Programs Division, Dr. Sonny Duke Okosun, expressed gratitude for his fatherly guidance and enduring support.
Your kindness, generosity, and willingness to support this family have made a very, very meaningful and huge difference.
The primary reason we are here is to come and say thank you. That's why we are here. For all you have done for us.
I entered the place I went around, up and down, just know that it was perfect. I will still want to beg him. Oliver, please ask for more.
Anytime we come into your presence, we are always at home. And you have a way of making the atmosphere very exciting, very interactive, and lovely.
In his remark, Sir Chief Dr. Lucky Nosaka Igbenedion thanked the management for the visit and urged them to remain committed to professionalism and excellence.
All of you have your different areas of expertise that you should be able to contribute genuinely with integrity.
The visit was climaxed with the presentation of a gift to the Vice Chairman by Engineer Elvis Obaseki on behalf of the management. From Benin, Donald Ehiminyen, ITV News.
And moving on, a bill seeking to ban the production, importation and sale of unbranded and unfortified edible oils in Nigeria has failed to scale second reading in the House of Representatives. Ogani Victor reports that a bill sponsored by Honorable Chike John Okafor was stepped down by the sponsor after it generated strong debate on the floor.
Honorable Chike Okafor, the sponsor of the bill, argued that Nigerians are dying from consuming unbranded oils and called for a new agency to monitor oil production.
Statistics of harmful and damaging effects of unbranded oils on our people for consumption of very poisonous, unfortified and unbranded edible oil are alarming. The number of patients for heart-related diseases and heart attacks is on the increase. 67% of Nigerians consume unbranded edible oil. Only 31% of edible oils in circulation in Nigeria are fortified.
However, the proposal drew immediate pushback as Honorable Gagdi Yusuf and others said NAFDAC already has that responsibility and its act should be amended instead of creating another agency.
Let us look at the sections, the various components of the bill that have to do with NAFDAC, that have to do with other agencies, and let them pull them and harmonize them by way of amending our existing laws to take care of the issues raised by this bill.
There are loose ends in NAFDAC law, which this legislation is trying to tie up.
Those are our local productions that they are doing in most of the, local villages in our place. So did he take them into consideration?
The title of the bill is completely the functions of NAFDAC, no doubt about it. So if we go out and waste our time on this bill, talking about unbranded oil, somebody will come up and say unbranded gari again tomorrow. Somebody will come up and say unbranded wheat, amala. Why are we proliferating the function of NAFDAC?
Deputy Speaker, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, who presided over Wednesday's plenary, eventually granted the request to step the bill down to allow for more work and wider consultations. From the House of Representatives, Ogani Victor, ITV News.
Many thanks for being there for us. It's been the Independent Television News at 9:30. TMI Socials is up next. Please stay tuned.
ITV, certainly the best. Good morning. This is TMI Socials. I am Nuoluwakbo Stevens, better still call me a social media butterfly. Now, our video of the day is a video of the viral moment between Nigeria music superstar Burna Boy and Colombian global icon Shakira when they delivered the memorable performance during the FIFA's inaugurational World Cup final halftime show on Sunday, entertaining millions of football lovers across the world. I'll take a look. Well, shout out to African giant himself, Burna Boy. Even though a lot of netizens dragged him not putting on our African attire, t-shirt, and the trouser, but I just think that's so secure. For a second term and backed Linda as his preferred leadership candidate in the state. Foundation ceremony of the Riverine Medical Industry Project in Rumosi Oguakpo local government area of River State. So in this video, his remarks circulated on social media where the governor said he had returned to his former political party, his family actually, and urged his supporters to align with the River Coalition, a political alliance led by the Minister of the Community, Wike.
We have made this in this, and we have President Ahmed Tinubu is our president, and is the one that's okay. So please, wherever you are, give your total support to that coalition. We need to move forward.
There you have it. You've heard it loud and clear. Give your total support to that coalition. But how the netizens take this online, especially with long feud between River State Governor Sim Fubara and the Minister of the FCT. Now, this is what the user has to say. A female teacher, imagine that. In fact, the first female governor in the area really strong past Fubara. Okay. Away from that, this user wrote on Instagram, the strategy here is that Sim will publicly support the APC candidate in River State. However, behind the scenes, he will allegedly use his influence as governor to work against the APC during the election. Wike may not see this coming because Sim is no longer contesting the election, and he's the main person opposing Wike in River State. Well, since Sim appears to be backing the APC, Wike may lower his guard, forgetting that Sim's brother is in the NDC, or is the NDC candidate. Well, another reaction on this story, this one wrote, same thing that happened to Ambode is happening to Fubara right in his eyes. Now, if you know, you know. Well, we move away from that, right? We move away to our second story. Well, outside Nigeria, particularly in the UK, the UK's new Prime Minister, Andy Bonham, and the famous Nigerian-born TikTok star, Bemi, popularly known as Bus Auntie, in a campaign promoting lower bus fares across England. Now, the video is currently surfacing online, where the UK Prime Minister, the new man, Bonham, featured the social media personality while announcing €2 cap on single bus fares yesterday. Now, he says the policy will take effect from January 1st, 2027 and remain in place until the end of the year. Take a look at the viral clip.
For too long, people said it's not possible to reduce bus fares. Well, we showed everybody in Greater Manchester that it is possible. And today, I'm taking cap now.
Different. Other story, this one says the best prime minister in our lifetime. And still only the first week, and he's doing the Lord's work. Well, finally, this wrote, she deserves it. She worked hard. Ghanaians are proud of her. Well, she's actually a Nigerian, though. And it says there's a back here in Nigeria. Firstly, Nigeria trained of Akwete fabric, a prestigious hand textile indigenous to the Akwete community in Abia. Now, the First Lady made the donation on Tuesday during her visit to the state to celebrate and promote the historic women heritage in Ukwa East local government area of the state. Now, she actually made a viral comment where she says that if President Bola Tinubu wins the election come 2027, she's going to dust off or just put aside Ashoke and begin to wear fabric. Take a listen to her.
And that they wear and study quality, the texture of it.
So she had to wait husband win second tenure to start wearing Akwete. Question. Now, announcement and approval is different from release. Announcement may be made, funds may not be released. Okay, well, it's actually been given blood to different parts of the state in Nigeria. Now, this one wrote, after wearing it for the inauguration, what's next? of 30.15 billion naira in the 2026 budget for the construction, renovation and furnishing of palaces and execution of some religious related projects across the country. Billion naira was a renovation of and furnishing of 106 palaces nationwide, while 8 billion naira was budgeted for projects related to construction, renovation, and other related support to churches and mosques across the country in the 2026 budget. And Nigerians currently are reacting to this viral news. We'll take a couple of reactions to this real quickly. A couple of tweets. This one wrote, "They are using your taxes to renovate and build palaces. I know people that love their tradition are extremely happy. If you frown at judges' quarters built by Wike and you are happy that they are building and renovating palaces, okay." Well, away from that, now this one wrote on X. This religion budgeting didn't start this year. I'm sure there will be budget for recreation centers. I believe these religious bodies have more than enough to run their businesses. The oversight committee should be all probed. They are the people we need EFCC and ICPC to chase. While still on the viral story, this one wrote, "Church and mosques in the budget. Nigeria is desperately in need for a hard reset. This is beyond comprehension." Now, as we wrap up TMI Social this morning, here is a viral video from the Abia State Governor Alex Oti, where he was telling Nigerians to thank President Bola Tinubu for all of the things that he has done so far in his current administration. Take a look.
Plead with you to take our felicitations to His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Want you to please thank him. Thank him for his courage. Thank him for his sacrifices. Some people may not understand. It takes a man with courage to do what he did in 2023. Remove petroleum subsidy and follow suit with the floating of the naira. What has that done? That has freed up a lot of funds that would have been used in financing consumption, to doing other things in the federal government, in the states, and in the local governments. And today,
So it says, "Thank you, Mr. President." Reminds me of that popular guy that says, "Have you thanked Governor today?" Now let's have two tweets in the story. Now this user wrote on X reacting to this viral video where this one says, "I remember somebody saying, 'Please do not anger me, Abia State Governor,' and other interesting reactions." This one wrote, "God bless my president. Thank you for all you do." Another one says, "Truly speaking, Tinubu has been doing the Lord's work aside the security situation in the country." Now let's have another reaction. There's one I'm looking for where this one wrote, "Dear Alex Oti, we don't respect you since, so no push me for talk this hot afternoon." Like, what is it you're talking about here? But anyway, we wrap up TMI Socials on this note. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I am Anuoluwapo Stevens. From all of us on This Morning on ITV, thank you for your time. We'll see you again next week.
This is ITV.
Certainly the best.